George joined us now from the White House. And George, what do you think when you go away from this man? What's your deep impression? Do you think this relationship between Brazil and America is going to be long-lasting?
There is absolutely no doubt. I mean, you have to understand the context, Pat, of Latin America. Three-quarters of Latin America has been ruled by leftist governments. Brazil was one of them for almost 2 decades, Pat. And Bolsonaro came on the scene pretty much from political obscurity, and he saw what the leftist ideology was doing to his nation. And as a man of deep faith, he realized that the leftist ideology wanted to launch an all-out assault on the family and to introduce all these things that were that was against the Bible and his belief. And so he ran on that platform, promising to restore the family, to promising integrity to the nation. And in the process, he said, you know, 2 decades of leftist ideology, we coddled Iran, we coddled Cuba, we coddled Venezuela. Those days are over. Typically, when the new administration comes into Brazilian power, their first overseas trip, Pat, is to Venezuela or Cuba. Bolsonaro said, no, we are in a new era. My first bilateral trip is going to be to Washington, D.C. Right after he became the president, he said, we are going to move our embassy in Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Again, it was a seismic shift. And obviously, he's taking the blowback from that. Various Latin American countries are making fun of him, that he is coddling and cozying up to the Yankees, to President Trump. But clearly, he has set a tone for his country, and Brazilians are supporting him. They said they are also fed up with this leftist government. Look at what it has brought. And Bolsonaro kept saying during his campaign, do you guys want to be like Venezuela? If that's what you want, don't vote for me.
George, speaking of Venezuela, that Maduro is getting worse. It's like 2 million% inflation. It's unreal. I mean, we just can't conceive of anything of such poverty. Did you talk about military intervention with him at all?
We did. I asked that question directly to him. Obviously, he said that is a private matter that he and President Trump had spoken about. President Trump said he has a plan. He has an idea of how to deal with Venezuela. During the press conference, he was asked that question a number of times. Again, both leaders refused to reveal their hand on what they want to do. Keep in mind, Brazil has direct contact, military-to-military contact with the Venezuelan army. And President Trump is encouraging President Bolsonaro, listen, will you put some pressure on the Venezuelan army? Keep in mind, Pat, you know this very well, the Venezuelan army, how they fall, whether they fall for the interim president, Juan Guaido, or whether they continue to swear allegiance to Maduro is a very, very big factor. And so what the Brazilians are saying to their counterparts in Venezuela, listen, if you abandon your allegiance to Maduro, we will not arrest you for your alliance with him, for things that you have done. This is a new day. This is a new opportunity to restore hope, to restore democracy in Venezuela.
Well, George, it was a great day yesterday, and I'm so glad you were there, and I was thrilled when we prayed with the president, and his heart is so warm toward the evangelicals, and he understands. It's amazing. It's almost the same percentage as Trump got, maybe 83% or more of the evangelicals in America, which is the most solid broken voting bloc, and Bolsonaro is the same thing in Brazil.
That's right. In fact, he even mentioned that to you, Pat. He said when you were all around that table, he says, I'm in a familiar place. I feel like I'm at home, because he knows the relationship that he has had with evangelicals. Remember, evangelicals for such a long time, they had their allegiances splattered across so many different candidates. Then when Bolsonaro came on the scene and they saw what a deep man of faith he was, his wife, Michelle, is an evangelical, attends a Baptist church, as I mentioned, when they saw his heart and his desire to restore moral values, to uphold the Word of God, to uphold Judeo-Christian principles, they said, wow, we've never had such a candidate before. It's impossible to even imagine that such a candidate could even win. And so they threw in their support for him. And today what you have here, Pat, is a seismic, tectonic political shift in the largest South American country, and it is giving notice to the rest of Latin America. As you have seen the Brexit in England, Germany, in other parts of Europe, you're seeing this right turn, and clearly Bolsonaro is part of that wave you're seeing not just in South America, but around the world.
George, thank you very much, and thank you for your reporting. It was a moment.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Important moment. We were deeply touched. I mean, it was marvelous. A number of us were there together, and I was there side by side with my dear friend Reinhard Bonnke, and we both prayed for the president and asked God's blessing on him.